Pate Sucree makes for delicious cookies, but where this sweet dough really shines is as the base of an assortment of tarts, especially my raspberry frangipan tart. Now, frangipan is a creamy, almost cake-like almond filling, and you need that Pate Sucree crust to hold that filling inside. So I've started it here in the mixer. You can make Pate Sucree by hand with electric beaters, but that initial step of creaming the butter and sugar is important. So now that I've done that, I can add my single egg and my ½ teaspoon of vanilla and mix that together. Here we go. So now I'm ready for the dry ingredients of 1 3/4 cups of cake and pastry flour and ½ teaspoon of salt. There we go. The dough has come together. And because it is so sticky, I actually make use of the plastic wrap. I'll shape it into a disc. So now you want to set this until it's firm, and that could take up to 2 hours. I have a disc all ready to roll. So when I'm rolling a delicate dough, like a sugar dough, I like to rotate it 90 degrees often. That way I know it's not sticking to my surface. So I go just about 1/4 inch, maybe just a little bit less when I'm rolling it. I'm using a 9-inch removable tart pan, just a little sprinkling of flour. I can really feel it's got the structure that I can just lift it over, drop that sugar dough into the edges of the tart. Press it so it fills in the fluted edges. And then I let the rolling pin cleanly trim it. Because I soften this dough to roll it, it needs time to chill, to set that butter. That ensures when I bake it, the sides of the tart shell will stay in place. So I give it about 30 minutes in the fridge. I have one ready for the oven. And before it goes in, to ensure that it doesn't bubble up on the bottom, you want to dock the bottom of it with a fork. Just pierce holes all the way through. Now, I'll put this on a baking tray and pop it in a 350 oven, and it takes about 20 minutes to bake, and it'll turn just golden brown at the edges. After 20 minutes, you have your crust that's done. This one has cooled completely, and I'll just set that aside. Let's start with the butter sugar base. ½ cup of unsalted butter. And to that, I'll add ½ cup of granulated sugar, but also 1/4 cup of icing sugar. I'll grab my eggs while I'm here. And I'll cream these two together. I'll add to this a whole egg and an egg yolk. Along with that goes a teaspoon of vanilla. And now, a little bit of whipping cream. 3 tablespoons, which ensures a beautiful, smooth consistency. And I'm going to switch to a whisk. And it really does have that custard-like look now. What a frangipan is all about is the almonds. I measure out 1 3/4 cups of ground almonds and just add it right to that base mixture. And lastly, ½ cup of cake and pastry flour. I'll give this a little sift. And I'll stir this until blended. And get that batter into the crust. There we go, nice and smooth. A frangipan tart baked just like this is delicious. But what I really love about frangipan is how it complements fruits. My favorite is raspberries. I half press the raspberries in. So they don't sit on top, but I don't fully submerge them in the frangipan. I always do 12 and 6, 9 and 3, as if on a clock, and then fill in around and then work my way inwards. It's about a cup of raspberries in total. And if you were to do this with another fruit, like an apricot or a plum, quarters would work just fine. So the frangipan tart is ready for the oven. I keep the oven at 350, and this takes about 40 minutes for it to set. And you'll watch it brown from the outside in, and it shouldn't jiggle anymore once it's time to come out of the oven. After the 40 minutes, you want to let it cool completely, and then it is best served chilled. So give it about 2 hours in the fridge to chill afterwards. And here we go. Look at this beautiful tart, that beautiful golden brown around the outside. It really does have a professional look to it. The perfect finishing touch, a little bit of icing sugar. And of course, I have to show you what it looks like inside. And you really can tell by that texture the cake-like consistency of the frangipan and the fruit. I love how you have the Pate Sucree holding up the frangipan, but the textures match. That's why it's such an ideal pastry for so many tarts.